Hey, what's going on, everyone? It's your boy Manny here once again. Welcome back to another episode of DFS Zone, your source for daily fantasy sport lineup advice for the NFL, NBA, WNBA, and MLB. And like always, guys, I appreciate you drop a like on the video. And if you have not subscribed yet to the channel, first time ever here, please subscribe down below and do not forget to turn on your notifications. This way you do not miss any of my lineup advice and insight videos. All right, with that being said, it is Sunday, June the 24th, 2018. We have a nice 5-game slate in the WNBA today. We have Seattle at Dallas, New York at LA, Minnesota at Las Vegas, Connecticut at Indiana, and Phoenix at Chicago. And before I go on, I would the night before, the last game, 6-game slate, I definitely did pretty well on GPP. I was actually in line in the top 10 for a little while there towards the last maybe 40 minutes or 45 minutes or so of the actual GPP play the other night. Got as high as, like I said, 6th. I finished 15th in one lineup, and I finished in another lineup with 474. What was my total lines? I think it was 238 on the nose with the 15th place finish. Got $90 out of it. I would have loved to got cash in that 3,500, but you know, I'm not worried about it, man. This is what I play for. GPPs. Give myself a chance every single night. Try to do the best I can, and you know, I've taken down some before, so you know, it's just a matter of time, you know. But that very nice showing the other night. Very nice showing. A couple of key girls that really came through. I was telling you guys in my video, I was all over Jewel Lloyd. She played well. I was all over McBride, which I also mentioned was one of my favorites going into the night. I also was all over Miss Eleanor Deladon. She had an awesome game. And I also told you guys that I definitely love Phoenix with Diana Taurasi, and she ended up having a great game. She was on a different line. Unfortunately, I couldn't get Lloyd and Taurasi in a lineup where I felt comfortable that it would do well, so I had no choice and put them separately. And 15th place finish lineup, I had Jewel Lloyd in that one with McBride, so that worked out good. And I had Brittany Boyd, which had an awesome night for New York. Other than that, I had McCourtry on that lineup. I also had Deladon, and I had Miss Sanders from Washington, who did very well too. Put up about 35 or 36 spot that night. And then the 474 finish, I definitely had there Deladon as well again, but this time I had definitely Taurasi. I had Hartley from New York and Bentley from Connecticut, who did very well. And I had Candace Parker, who was, you know, didn't quite finish the way I wanted her to finish. Rebecca Brunson I had in that lineup as a low value at 4th. I think she was like 4,300, so she came through with about a 24 spot, 23 spot. The only disappointment was Miss Tuck. I took Tuck as one of my forwards, and she put up like a 6 or 7 or something like that. But nonetheless, not a bad night. My other 2 lineups didn't cash, but you know, I'm always happy if I can get 2 out of the 4 or 2 out of the 5. I played 4 the other night, so not too bad. You know, I made a little over $100. I think it was $110 or $115 total, whatever it was. But not a bad night. Those results are up on my Instagram like always. I also now I'm starting to tweet those now as well. I should have been doing that a long time ago. Sorry about that. But there will always be, anytime I do fairly well or I win anything, I will post them in my Instagram. They've been going on my Instagram for quite a while now. I definitely started a Facebook page for DFS Zone as well, so you'll be seeing results and information there. And then, of course, you know, the Twitter account. So stay on top of there, because it's important that when you have a channel, you share, you know, some of the results. And you know, I've been pretty much trying to do everything I can to do that as well. So not a bad night. So let's go to the key here is to try to do it again today. So that's what I plan to do. So let's dive into actually what's going on today. Seattle at Dallas. Do I have a line? Yes, I do have a line. 172.5 is the implied totals, with Dallas favored at home by 2.5. This game is going to be a very good game. I think this one, as well as the Minnesota Las Vegas game, are probably going to be the 2 key games that are going to be pretty competitive. New York and LA should be kind of balanced as well, as far as how close the game is going to be, as far as like what I see statistically from, you know, my statistics that I take down in my little formula that I'm working on to figure out what are the best possible plays. I see where these 3 games are probably the most competitive ones of this slate. So definitely you got some plays here in every one of these games. Seattle, Dallas. All right. Some team statistics that I look at. I got Seattle is second in the league in scoring at 87.8 points per game. Dallas is at 84.5 points per game. They're third, so they're pretty much neck and neck right there. They're both high scoring teams. Field goal percentage wise, Seattle is definitely better, as well as 3-point shooting. Seattle is second in both categories. 46.7% shooting from the floor, which is excellent, almost 47%, and 35.4% from 3-point range. They got 6 actual players shooting 31% or better from 3. So Seattle is definitely very deadly from the 3-point spot. Dallas is actually 11th, one of the worst 3-point shooting teams. Obviously, their better shooters are Miss Diggins Smith. Only 30.4%. It's only 5.5% less than Seattle, but it's a big difference when you have 6 players that are capable of shooting at 30% clip or better. So something to consider there in this game, but this game should be fairly good. Rebounds, Seattle is 7th in the league at 34.5 rebounds per game. Dallas is actually number 1 in rebounds right now at the current time. They're 37.4 rebounds per game. Then you have Seattle is second in assists with 20. To Dallas is 10th in the league with 16. They're fairly close in blocks, second and third respectively, and Seattle is 4th best in steals at 7.6 steals per game, while Dallas is 10th in the league at 6.2. Not too much of a disparity there that would alarm me in any way or alarm you in any way. Points per game to guards. Okay, right now currently Seattle is 10th in the league in points per games given up to guards. 36.2 points per game, while Dallas is 6th at 32.9, so they are a little bit better by 4. Points per game to forwards and centers, Seattle is 3rd best, okay, at 45 points per game they're giving up, while Dallas is 6th at 47.2. Not that bad of a difference there, only about 2.5 points more. So definitely up front, the teams definitely match up fairly well as far as looking at those numbers there. All right, so when we look at the players, we're looking at Jewel Lloyd. All right, we're looking at Diggins Smith. Sorry, we got Diggins Smith here at the top as far as price. She's 8,000. You need 40 to meet value, and she's averaging 37.3. They did play each other one time already this year, and she put up a 50 spot. She definitely outplayed Jewel Lloyd. We go to the cruncher here, and I'm gonna go right to guard. And as you can see, I'm going to go to Diggins Smith. She is facing the 2nd best defense against guards this year. But like what I just finished telling you, they are giving up. Seattle is actually 10th in my list as far as points per game. I mean, actual points from guards at 36.2 points per game, which is 10th in the league. So a little disparity there. So it definitely tells you that there is, value here in getting Diggins Smith in this game, and she already has shown that she could definitely score against this team when she put a 50 spot the first time around. She's averaging 20 points per game, 4.3 rebounds, 6.4 assists, 1.1 steals, and she's shooting at the current time 39% from the floor. She needs, like I said, 40. This is definitely a game that she's capable of to get 40. She can even do 50 again. I just think it's going to be tougher always the second time around, especially that Jewel Lloyd did not shoot well the first time around. All right, when we look at Jewel Lloyd, she is at 7,600. She's $400 cheaper. She's averaging 31.9 points per game, and she needs about 36, 37 to cover this price here. I think she's going to have a bounce back here. First time around, she only scored 19 against this team, but if we go back to the cruncher here, she really had a bad night shooting. Let's go back right here. Dallas, only 19 fantasy points in a 4-point loss. So, I mean, imagine if she was at least shooting the ball well. That means that Brianna Stewart and Natasha Howard must have had a better game. And maybe even Sue Bird. I don't think Sue Bird did not play that game. Jordan Canada had a great game. Anyway, 5 of 17 and 1 of 8. So that explains it totally right there. She just had a poor shooting night. I expected a bounce back. She had a heck of a night the other night. She's facing the 10th ranked defense against guards in Dallas. And like I had said before, on my list, Dallas is actually 6th. They're in the middle of the pack as far as points per game given to guards, which is 32.9. So all that is something to consider here. So Jewel Lloyd and Diggins Smith are both in play Okay, in this game. I don't know if you can get them both in here and still be able to get a nice enough lineup, but either way, you can have multiple lineups with a 5-game slate. You could definitely go multiple lineups, which I normally do, and you can definitely have Jewel Lloyd in one lineup, and you can make Diggins Smith one of your core in your second lineup. $400 cheaper if you want to pay for it. If not, then just pay the $8,000 and take Diggins Smith. I think both of them are definitely good plays. Sue Bird did not play the first time around. And, Sue Bird, not too bad. She had a fairly good game, I think, the other night defensively. She put up 26 minutes, 5 points, 3 rebounds, 7 assists is great. She had 2 blocks and 3 steals. That's the reason why she put up a 29 spot. I am not a big Sue Bird fan, but she's had 20 points, fantasy points or more in 3 out of her last 4 games that she has played. This game she did not play. So you can see she had a 23 here, 25 here, 29 here. So 3 out of the last 4 or 5 games. 5,200, you need about 26, and she's averaging 21. As far as points concerned, she is averaging 8.3 points per game, 6 assists per game, and she's shooting 35% from the floor, which is not bad, but it's not the greatest. And she's shooting 36% from three-point range, which I know she could shoot better. I am not on Sue Bird. She's not a bad play. Can she get you 26? It's going to be tough, okay, in this matchup. I think that if you're going to go with anybody here, you got to think Diggins Smith or Lloyd. We go down further. Alicia Gray would be someone in play. She put up a 22 spot the last time they played each other. Okay, let's look for her here. Where is she? Okay, she's not on here. Very nice. So let me look for her here. Sorry about that, guys. Alicia Gray, where are you? Here you go. Okay. I don't have her on my pool because I don't intend to play her. Okay, it's not an error there, but I just want to still go over real quickly. Alicia Gray, she's facing a second best defense in Seattle. She put up a 24 spot in her last game against the Spark, but when she played the first time around she played these guys, she put up a 22 spot, which is right here. 30 minutes, 6 of 10 and 1 of 4, 22.20 fantasy points. At that price, she needs 21. She's averaging 17. She's putting up 8.8 points, 2.5 rebounds, 1.3 assists, shooting 45% from the floor and 30% from 3. Not bad. She's one of the 6 players. Actually, she's one of the, for Dallas, she's one of 3 players that shoot fairly well from three-point range, as well as herself. Diggins Smith is in the 28% range, close to 30. Yeah, I mean, Alicia Gray is definitely in play here. It's just a tough matchup. That's my only concern here. And you know what? For me, there's better plays anywhere else. At 4,200, she's not too bad. I think she can get you 21. I'm just not in favor of her in this matchup. I would rather go just Diggins Smith as the guard from Dallas if I'm going to target this game. And if I'm not gonna do Smith, like I said before, it will be Lloyd for sure. All right. It'll be Lloyd for sure. I'm not on anybody else here as far as this matchup. Canada had an awesome game, someone to consider. She had a 35 spot the first time around, but that was due to the fact that she got the playing time and she was shooting so well. Sue Bird was not in the lineup. She did not play that game. So that's one of the reasons why she got a lot of minutes and she was able to play so well that they kept her out there. So she put up a 35 spot, 3,800. You need 18 from her, and she's averaging 15, so it's not too bad. She's averaging 5.9 points, 3.3 assists, 1.4 steals, and shooting at the moment 31.5% from the floor, which is not enough to convince me to play her in this matchup, especially the Sue Bird is back. She will get some time on the floor. I don't know if she's going to get you 20 or better in this matchup, so I would not be on Canada here. Kayla Davis, anybody else here, just not on. All right, we go to forward so we can pick it up here. Forward spot, Breanna Stewart, definitely hands down in play. She put up a 52 spot the first time around, so you definitely would want to target her. She's facing a 10th ranked defense, covering forwards and centers in the league. And like I said before, what we got here, Seattle actually is very vulnerable. Dallas is 6th in the league. They're in the middle of the pack as far as defending, as far as giving up points per game to forwards and centers. They're giving up 47.2 points per game. This is a good spot for Brianna, just simply because she put up 52 before. And we know that she's capable of it. Is she going to be able to put 52 again? I don't know. But as you can see here, 1, 2, 3, 4 games out of her last 7, she's met value. This one here, she just barely made value at 35 fantasy points against Indiana, which Indiana is one of the top teams defending power forwards and centers in the league at the moment, as far as points per game. So definitely, I really like Brianna here. I think she's in a good spot. So this is a definite favorable matchup for her. If we go any further here, Liz Cambage, not in a bad spot either. She put a 39.9, pretty much a 40 spot the first time around. Definitely is going to be tough. I mean, Brianna, if you're going to go for either one of these two, I would still go with Brianna, because I think Brianna is just a better defender than Liz Cambage, even though Cambage, to me right now, is probably a better rebounder. She's averaging more rebounds than Stewart. She's going to need to rebound and play better than Stewart tomorrow, and something tells me that I just like Stewart. I'm just a fan of her. So Brianna Stewart, to me, will be a favorite for me at $8,500. I'd rather pay $100 more and have her. But if you wanted to play Liz Cambage, she's definitely a good play. $8,400. You need 42. She's averaging 40.3. She's putting up 19.7 points per game, 9.9, nearly 10 rebounds a game, 2.3 assists a game, and 2.1 blocks. She's actually shooting very well from the floor, 57%, and she's actually not too bad of a three-point shooter. She's nearly 29% from three. So, but I still love Brianna Stewart. Brianna is 21.5 points per game, 7.5 rebounds, 2.9 assists, 1.4 steals, 1.5 blocks, shooting 51% from the floor and 30% from three. And like I said before, she put up a 52 spot. So I'd rather pay $100 more and take my chances with Stewart. Natasha Howard would be someone in play. 7,000, you need 35. She's averaging 31.8. She's putting up 14 points per game, 7 rebounds a game, 2 blocks, 59% from the floor and 35% from three. She had a 24 and 27 minute game, and she put up more than 1 fantasy point per minute in the last 3 games. 29, 32, 27, 32, 24, 32. That's outstanding. She's doing a heck of a job. First time around against this team, she put up a 38 spot. Between her and Brianna, they just lit it up. So if they tag team these guys again and they're able to do what they did the first game around, it's going to be a pretty good night for Brianna and Natasha Howard. Okay, so definitely someone to consider. All right, let's move on. Glory Johnson. I'm not on Glory, and I'm not on Kayla Thornton, but Kayla Thornton is not at a bad price here. 5,300. You need 26. She's averaging pretty much close to 21. She's at 8.7 points, 4.9 rebounds, shooting 42% from 42.7% from the floor and 33% from three. First time around against these guys, she only put up a 15 spot, which is right here. Not a good night for her, but she has 30-point upside. She's done it once, twice already this year. She has been in a little bit of a decline here as far as points. 27 and 19 fantasy, 23 and 18, 27 and 22. All right, so to meet that value, she needs to be, like I said, at 26. She hasn't hit 26 in about 5 or 6 games. So, but I think this is definitely a good matchup for her here. Definitely someone to consider. Well, let me just get this here. Okay, sorry. Let's move on. All right, so yeah, Kayla Thompson. So Kayla Thornton is someone you consider. Azura Stevens, a cheaper value play. 17 fantasy points the last time they played each other. She's at 3.7K. You need 17, and she's averaging nearly 15. I know she's played a lot better in the last few games. Well, her last game was 24 minutes, and she put up a 32 spot. So she has potential, as you can see here. I don't know if I want to take a chance with her in this game when you have a chance to take Kayla Thornton or Liz Cambage. I'm really targeting more the Seattle players in this game, but you could definitely, this is a game here, you could definitely stack this game. All right, you could definitely stack this game if you want. All right, let's move on. That is it for here that I am interested in. We go to the New York LA game. LA Spark in New York. This will probably be a little tight-knit game too. I see a lot of stuff, a lot of statistical numbers here that work. Okay, New York, I don't have a line on this game, but we got New York ninth in scoring at 78 points per game, and Los Angeles is eighth at 79.3. LA is first in field goal percentage in the entire league at 47.1% and shooting 33.3% from three. That's sixth best, while New York is ninth in both categories of field goal percentage of 41.9 and 30.9% from three. New York is ninth in rebounds at 32.9 rebounds per game. Los Angeles is dead last. They've been last for about over 2 weeks at 29.2 rebounds per game. New York is fourth in assists with 19.3. LA is fifth at 18.9, so they're pretty even there. Pretty even in steals, 7 and 7. Pretty even in blocks at 3 and 2 respectively. When we get to the points per game for against guards, New York is fourth best at 30.6 points per game given up to guards. The Spark is second best at 30.2. So me, technically, to be honest with you, with a 5-game slate, my strategic mindset is, hey, you know what? I'm not targeting anybody in these games. You can, but I have better opportunities in the other 4 games, which I already gave you Diggins Smith and Jewel Lloyd as studs, and then you can find 2 decent, good plays in the other games. So here, you know, if you're going to target anybody here, you can, but me personally, I'm not going to target these games when I see that both teams are fairly good against guards. All right, points per games to forward, they're pretty even here as well. New York is 8th in the league at 48.6, and LA is 7th in the league at 47.5. So you can target the big men here. Okay, you can, and that could work. So at this game here, I am not interested in anybody in this game. I'm going to be totally honest with you because, like I said, there are other better plays in the other games. But if you're going to target anybody here, it will probably be Chelsea Gray or Bria Hartley in my eyes. All right. Bria Hartley's at 4,200. You need about 21, and she's averaging 19. She's very, very close. She's 8.7 points per game, 2.5 rebounds, 4.3 assists, 1 steal per game, shooting 42% from the floor and 32.5% from three. So she's someone you can consider here. They haven't played each other yet, so it'll be interesting to see how well each team defends each other. But as far as guards are concerned, both teams are fairly good at defending guards as far as points per game. Okay, as far as points per game. So I'm looking at this game, I'm targeting the big men, all right, because both teams are a little bit more susceptible there. You got Tina Charles automatically hands down for New York, 7,700. You need 37, and she's averaging 36. She has been a little bit of a decline as far as putting up some large numbers. She had that 48 and 37. Well, the decline was here. I apologize for that. 31, 22, and 17. In the last 2 games, she's actually had rebounded with 48 and 37 respectively. She had a 29-point game against Atlanta. So she's in a definitely good spot here. Like I said, LA has their troubles with the big men. So this is a good opportunity for Tina Charles. Also, if we look at the cruncher, Tina Charles here, you can see LA is 6th in the league in defending the forward center spot. So it's just about right. I have them as far as I have them 7th as far as points given up. So Tina Charles in a good spot here. All right, definitely someone to consider. She's averaging 20.9 points per game, 7.1 rebounds, 2.9 assists, 1 steal, 1 block, 45% from the floor, and 27.5% from three. When you think of LA, you got Candace Parker. Fine play up front. Miss Agumake is also a fine play, $300 cheaper. When you think of Candace, you got 8,100. You need about 40. She's averaging 32. She's putting up 15.6 points per game, 6.4 rebounds, 3.8 assists, 53% shooting from the floor, and 42.9%, nearly 43% from three. Candace Parker has been doing her thing. She's facing the 2nd-ranked defense as far as fantasy points, 2nd best in New York. But like I said before, New York is vulnerable to the big men giving up. They're 8th in my list of points per game given up to forwards and centers, 48.6 a game. And these girls here that she's facing, they can score. So New York is going to have their hands full. I still think that Candace Parker or Gumake are going to do just fine here against Tina Charles. And Tina Charles might just do just as well against Parker and Agumake. So you're thinking here in this game, these are the three girls you're thinking about. Parker, Ogumake, Tina Charles. Ogumake is $300 cheaper. Nneka Ogumake is putting up 16.6 points per game, 7.2 rebounds, 2.3 assists, 1.6 steals, shooting 57.9% from the floor and 46.7% from three. Definitely someone to consider here. All right, guys, definitely someone to consider. Other than that, I don't have any other girls here that I like, including the lower tier girls as far as value. There's a couple other girls in the other games coming up that have value. We go to Minnesota and Las Vegas. This is the other game that I'm claiming, that I'm telling you guys that is going to be pretty competitive. They have Minnesota. I have a line on this one. Total implied totals right now for this game is 163.5 points, and they got Minnesota favored on the road visiting Las Vegas by 9. Now I know Minnesota's been playing really well lately, but Las Vegas has been playing pretty darn good too. I kind of like that team. I like Aja Wilson, and I definitely love Kayla McBride. And Tamara Young has been playing well too. So this is definitely a game that you can target. As you can see, these guards here are favorable in price. All right, so Kayla McBride, 5,600. You need about 28 from her. She's averaging 26, very close. She's the second leading scorer on that team, 17.2 points per game, 3.8 rebounds, 2.3 assists, 43% shooting from the floor, and 44% from three. Kayla McBride is definitely in play here. And like I had told you guys before, we go here to the cruncher. And McBride right here facing the 8th defending team against guards in the league in Minnesota. And I already told you, Minnesota against guards on my list for points per game given up to guard players in the guard position, 37.4 points per game. That's 11th, second to last. So we know there is definitely room for Kayla McBride to do well here. So I definitely like Kayla McBride here at this price at 5,600. I think she'll get 26. I think she'll bounce back with another big game, second one in a row, a 30 spot or better here. Kayla McBride is definitely in play. Tamara Young is in play as well. She is $200 cheaper. I don't think she's going to top Kayla McBride in scoring here, so my choice is still McBride. But if you wanted to save $200, which is not a whole lot, I'd rather pay this $200 more. You can go with Tamara Young. You need about 26, 27. She's averaging 21. She's putting up 9.7 points, 4.9 rebounds, 2.7 assists, 1 steal per game, and shooting 36%. I definitely like McBride's number better at 17, 3, 2, and 43% from the floor and 44% from 3. So my choice here for $200 more, I would definitely pay for Kayla McBride. She has the matchup, and she's able to put up the numbers. She's the second leading scorer in this team. If she shoots well enough and Aja Wilson shoots well enough, they'll be in this game. They'll be in this game. When you think of Minnesota, you have heard me time and time again, I'm not too fond of their guards. Some of their guards have been playing well. Lindsay Whalen had a great game the other day, but I'm not banking anything on Lindsay Whalen to have that streak continue here for 2 or 3 games. But Simone Augustus is not a bad play. 4,200. You need about 21. She's averaging 18. She's putting up 11.5 points per game, 2 rebounds, 2.3 assists, shooting 48% from the floor and 37% from 3. So I think she's not a bad play here at all. Simone Augustus, she's facing the 5th defending team against guards in the league. And like I said, Vegas is 8th in defending guards as far as putting up points per game. They're 34.4. They're like 3. They're 3 points better than Minnesota is. So the guards definitely have some room here for the guards to do something. All right. Let's move on. Danielle Robinson, I'm not on her. I'll be here. I'll waste a lot of time. I can go over all these girls, and it'll be like I'll be here forever. So let's go over the forward. Those are my best plays here. I think McBride is the best play here, and if you're gonna go with Minnesota, you gotta go with Augustus. And if you wanted to save $200, which I don't advise you to do, I'd rather pay the $200 more and pay for McBride. But if you wanted to save $1,400, you can definitely go to Simone. All right, so that's entirely up to you. Okay, we go to the forwards, the big men here. This is interesting here. Okay, we got Sylvia Fowles, 8,300. You need about 41. She's averaging 39, very close. She's priced just about right. She's averaging 17.4 points, 12.1 rebounds, 1.8 assists, 1.7 steals, and 1 block a game, shooting 59% from the floor. She's definitely a good play here. She's facing the rookie, okay, Asia Wilson, also in play here. And like I said before, both teams, Minnesota is number one, okay, number one in defending in as far as giving up points to forwards and centers. 41.7 points per game only. That's number one in the league as far as my numbers are concerned. So Asia Wilson is going to have a tough go, but she being young, I will give her the benefit of the doubt. I think she can get 35-40 here. And did she play this team? She did not play them. This is what's going to be interesting, is to see how well she plays against Sylvia Fowles. 49, 52, 40. The last two games alone have been monstrous, and against good front court players. Tina Charles here, and dealing with Brianna Stewart and Natasha Howard here, she put up 56. So yeah, the girl is a baller, man. She's going to be tough to handle. This may be a good game here to target as a game stack, as well as I like the game stacking of Seattle and Dallas, and as well as New York, LA. I'll go over that again at the end of the video. All right, so Foles definitely in play. Asia Wilson definitely play. Asia is all putting up 20.8 points. She's actually putting up more than Foles. 8.6 rebounds per game, 2.4 assists, 1.6 blocks, shooting 45%. So she's not shooting as high of a percentage rate than Foles. Maya Moore, definitely someone in play. But again, here, if you want to save 400, go with the youngster. If not, definitely play with Foles. You cannot go wrong with either one of the two in this matchup. Okay. But if you want to go strictly in statistics, Minnesota definitely defends better against the big men because of Fowles and Moore and Rebecca Brunson, which are all three good, decent defenders, and they're all good rebounders. That's what makes it difficult. All right, so she's in a tough spot, Miss Wilson, but I would not just say, hey, you know what, don't even think about Miss Wilson. Miss Wilson is a baller. She'll get up for a game like this, and she'll do everything she can to get Vegas an opportunity to win. So, but I definitely favor the Minnesota guys, and I've said it before, Minnesota's strength is their front court. All right, Maya Moore, definitely someone in play. I always like Maya Moore. I've played her several times. 7,300. You need about 37, and she's averaging 32. She's putting up 18.5 points. She's the leading scorer in Minnesota. She passed Sylvia. 18.5 points per game, 5.4 rebounds, 2.6 assists, 1.6 steals, shooting 41% from the floor and 34% from three. She's pretty solid there. I like her there. I would rather, in this matchup, take Maya Moore. Totally honest with my subscribers. I would probably go with Maya Moore way over Asia or Sylvia in this matchup and get one or two big men from one of the other games. But I haven't finalized that just yet on how I'm going to play it tomorrow. So I'm going to look at all my numbers, crunch everything up, and see if I can get a winning lineup here. But Maya Moore, to me, is definitely in play. All right, guys, definitely in play. Rebecca Brunson, she's playing well enough. 4,500. I'm not too high on her, but 23 you need, and she's averaging 19.7. She's putting up 6.9 points, 6.8 rebounds, 1.4 assists. She's shooting fairly well from both the floor and from three, 41% and 45.5 from three. So definitely they need her. And as I said before, they are third best in three-point field goal percentage at 35.2%. So that is another reason why you should analyze that and think about that as well. Moore and Brunson are pretty good three-point shooters, and Mr. Augustus. All right, so definitely to consider there. I'm not on anybody else here. Coffee, Hamby had a good game the last time out, but that's not going to be consistent, you know. So I am not on anyone else here. I think the best plays here are Falls, Wilson, and Moore. If you wanted to save some money, you could go Brunson. You could throw in as a last stringer there. Remember, Vegas is 10th in defending against the big men as far as points per game. So they're going to have a tough go. Somebody here is going to go off. It's just a matter of which one you think is going to be the one. Is it going to be Brunson Moore? Is it going to be both Moore and Brunson? Is it going to be Sylvia and Maya Moore? Or is it just going to be one of them? That's the tricky part. All right. So we will have to wait and see what you guys choose. But me personally, I feel that all three of these women are in play. All right. We go to Connecticut and Indiana. This one is a little bit more simpler. I mean, let me see if I have a line on this one. There's no line on this game. The numbers are like this. Connecticut is first in the league in scoring at 88.8 points per game. Indiana is near the bottom at 11th in the league at 75.5. Connecticut is 5th best in field goal percentage at 45.1. Indiana is 11th at 39.8. Connecticut is 8th in three-point shooting at 33.2. Indiana is 11th at 29.9. I would not be on any one of these teams because of three-point shooting. They're pretty even in the rebounding category at 37 and 35 respectively. Connecticut is 3rd best in assists, 19.3 a game, while Indiana is dead last at 15 a game. Indiana is also dead last in steals, where Connecticut is 7th at 7 a game. Indiana is at 5.8. They're pretty even in blocks, 5th and 7th respectively at 3.5 and 3.9. Points per game to guards, 26.8 is first. Is the very best in the league for Connecticut. They've only, I mean, check that out. 26.8 points per game are coming from guards. Connecticut is the best in the league in defending guards. Indiana is dead last at 40.3. Look at the difference there. That's like a minus 14. That is incredible. I mean, so what is that telling you? You definitely should be targeting some Connecticut guards. You know, so you definitely got to think of some Courtney or some little Jasmine there, or both. All right, you can go that route. Points per game given up to forwards and centers. Connecticut is dead last in that category at 53.1. So they defend well the guards, but they have trouble with the upfront players. Indiana is 2nd best, and that's going to neutralize Connecticut's front court. All right. The strongest point for Indiana is their front court as far as defending the big men. They have trouble with the guards. So very, very tricky here. So I like Connecticut guards here, and pretty much that's it. And if you wanted to go with anything with Indiana, then you definitely got to target their big men. All right. So we go right now to the guards. Let's go to the game. We got Courtney Williams, 6,100, a little pricey. You need about 30. She's averaging 24. She's not quite there. I don't think she's been putting up 30 at all. She hasn't done that in 3 games, so that's the only drawback here. But she's capable of it. First time around, they have played each other already, and she put up a 29 spot, so she's capable of putting 30 on this team. I do like her here in this matchup. They're 5th best defending against guards, Indiana, but like I said before, Indiana is dead last on my total points per game to guards. They have given up the worst at 40.3 a game. So I'm definitely going to have a little bit of Courtney or a little bit of Jasmine. All right. You should definitely go that right. I really like also Miss Bentley. She's come through for me a few times, including the other night. Miss Bentley in one of my lineups. So, you know, Alex Bentley is definitely someone in play. So 6,100. Her numbers are like this: 12.3 points per game, 5.8 rebounds, 2.8 assists, 45% from the floor, and shooting 36% from 3. Courtney Williams is definitely in play. Jasmine Thomas is also in play. If you want to save $100, you can go with her. She put up a 23 spot the first game around against Indiana. She's averaging 14.8 points, 2.8 rebounds, 4.8 assists, 1 steal, shooting 39% from the floor. So right now the numbers look better for Courtney for $100 more. All right, just slightly. She's a better assist. She's a better rebounder. She's pretty even with Jasmine in points, but she's shooting the ball better from the floor as well as from three-point range. All right. Other than those two, when I think of Indiana's, definitely like Tiffany and Kelsey Mitchell. But in this matchup here, all numbers are telling me that they're going to have a tough time, you know. And to be honest with you, the one Mitchell had only put up an 18 spot the first time around against them. She's in play at 5,500, but she needs to get to 27. She's averaging 22. So I'm a little concerned about that. And then she also already has played him, only put up 18. But she is averaging 16.2 points per game, 2.4 assists, shooting 39%. Her percentage rate has gone down by 5% over the last 2 weeks. So she's definitely missing a lot more shots now. 39% from the floor. At one time she was 44%. And shooting 36% from three, which has been pretty steady there. The one who did well against Indiana was Miss Erica Wheeler. She put up a 28 spot the last time they played. She's right here, 28 spot in 18 minutes. But she's another one, a little up and down. Here she put last game against Seattle, nice game, 24 minutes, 25 fantasy points. You know how much I love 1 fantasy point per minute. She got 22 here at 20 minutes, 21 and 24, 30 and 31. That's pretty much almost 1 fantasy point per minute. She did have 13.8 here in 17 minutes. Close, but not close enough. Yeah, she's someone to consider. You know, she's in a good spot. She's facing a team. Well, she's not facing a team that she can light them up, but she already has had a little bit of success. So if you wanted to go with that, you could consider that. She's averaging 8.2 points, 3.2 rebounds, 4.7 assists. So she fills up the stat sheet in 3 areas. She is shooting only 37% from the floor at the moment, but she's shooting nearly 34% from 3. So she definitely helps in that area there. Another player that did very well in the last matchup against these guys was the rookie Victoria Vivians. 4,400, you need 22, but she's only averaging 12.8. She has had a couple of decent games as of late. As far as minutes, 31, 30, 27, and 30. She had that 23 and 25 spot here. Last 2 games, a lot of minutes, not enough offense. A little concerning there, but she did have a 21 spot when she faced Connecticut earlier in the year. She's averaging at the moment 7 points per game, 2.2 rebounds, shooting 37% from the floor and 35.7% from 3. So someone to consider if you wanted to get some value. 4,400, I think she can get to 20 in this matchup. But probably the only one. If it's not her, it's Wheeler. But I am not on Kelsey Mitchell or Tiffany Mitchell. I think that if you're going to play anybody in this matchup as far as guards, the numbers all say to me, go Courtney Williams or go Jasmine Thomas, or maybe even stack both of them in a lineup. You can do that. The only drawback about that is that Connecticut could wipe away Indiana. Indiana is capable of staying close in this game because Connecticut is one of those teams that, sometimes they look really, really dominant and sometimes they look like crap. So you never know what you're going to get. But Courtney Williams as well as Jasmine Thomas, either one of the two are going to have a good game tomorrow. I believe that's hands down. So definitely those are the girls to consider here. Alex Bentley is another one I like for Connecticut. If I'm not willing to go with Williams or Thomas, then I'm willing to pay down and get at 3,900 Miss Bentley. She needs about 19 and she's averaging 17. She's putting up 9.8 points, 2.3 assists, 1.2 steals, shooting nearly 40% from the floor and 29% from 3. She only did have 8 spot the first time around, but she only played 15 minutes. But she is playing better now. That was way early on in the year. So someone to consider there. We go to the forwards. We don't know what's the deal with Alyssa Thomas yet. It's still game time decision here, but you still got Shanae Ogumake. I definitely like Candice Dupree in this matchup, or Natalie. I definitely would go with Candice Dupree. We go over here. Alyssa Thomas, we don't know where she stands. So Alyssa Thomas is averaging 12 points, 9.9 rebounds, 4.2 assists, shooting 49% from the floor. At 7,800, if she does play, you need about 38, and she's averaging 31. I'm a little bit away, especially she's coming back from her shoulder. Anytime somebody comes back from injury, you've heard me in videos before, I am not on them right away until I see them play at least a couple of games. So I'm willing to fade her because, most importantly, it's a 5-game slate. You don't need to stick her anywhere. All right. Shanae Ogumake is probably one of the best players on this team. Shanae has been playing really, really well this year. She's at 6,800. You need about 34 from her. She's averaging almost 30. She put a 24 spot the last time against them. Again, Indiana is really tough up front with Dupree and Achonwa. So it's going to be a tough matchup for Shanae. But she's averaging 15.4 points per game, 7.6 rebounds, 1.3 steals, shooting 61% from the floor and 50% from three. I mean, she's definitely a very, very good player, man. Definitely a very good player. She's in play here. I just feel that this matchup here, I'm going to go with my numbers, and I definitely like Candice Dupree a little bit better here. Candice Dupree, $6,400, $400 cheaper. She put up a 29 spot in the first game, and she only played 23 minutes. You need about 32 to cover this price. She's averaging 24, so we need those numbers to come up. But like I told you way back when she started getting back in it, I said I need to see her numbers come up. And she's starting to play a little bit better. She has 230 spots in over the last 4 games. And this is a favorable matchup for her. She's facing a team that really struggles in Connecticut, dead last against forwards and centers, giving up 53.1 points per game after 12 games, 13 games. So Candice Dupree, to me, is in play. Candice Dupree's numbers, 12 points per game, 6.5 rebounds, shooting 49.6%, nearly 50% from the floor. Definitely someone to consider here. Natalie's not a bad play. I'm not on Natalie for 6,200. I think that's a bit much. Okay. You need about 31, 32 from her, and I don't think she's been averaging that. She did get a 52 spot here, 30 here, 21, 34, 11. Yeah, probably she's in that range over the last 5 games. I'm not convinced that this is the matchup for her. I think the play here is definitely Candice Dupree. For $200 more, I'd rather take my chances with Candice Dupree or go against the whole stat thing and say, hey, you know, Shanae Ogumake would be a nice play here, 6,800. She's going to get hers. I don't know if she's going to get 29 or 30. She only put a 24 spot the first time around, and she needs at that price. You know, she needs to get about 34, so I don't know if she can get there. That's my only concern. Jonquel Jones, 5,900. You need about 29. She's averaging 22. She did only put up, what she got? She only put up a 17 spot the last time. But she did that in 15 minutes, so that's more than 1 fantasy point per minute, which is interesting enough for me. Where is it at? There she goes right here. 15 minutes, 17 fantasy points, 6 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 block. She's just been like all over the place. She's averaging pretty much more like 20, 21 points over the last 3 or 4 games. She only had this 18-minute, 8-point game here. I mean, it's just, I don't know, man. It's just not convincing enough for me. I'm not on anybody else here. I did have Morgan Tuck in the last game simply because I felt that if, you know, Shanae was not going to play, but she did, that ended that. Unfortunately, I still took Morgan Tuck thinking that she'll get sufficient time, and she didn't put up big numbers. So, I mean, yeah, the play here is Candice Dupree, guys. I mean, in this game, as far as statistical, you know, numbers are concerned, that she should be in good play, in a good position here as far as matchup is concerned. So definitely someone to consider here. And that's pretty much for this game. Let's go to Phoenix. Phoenix, Chicago. Oh, boy, Chicago is so bad, man. They're so bad. They got some talented guards, but they're so bad. You know, I just don't get these guys. Don't have a line on this game. Obviously, Phoenix is definitely favored, even though they're on the road. Phoenix is 5th in the league in scoring at 82.9 points per game. Chicago is 10th at 76.3. That's already like a 6-point difference there. Field goal percentage, Phoenix is 4th at 45.6, while Chicago is 10th at 41%. Phoenix is 4th also in 3-point percentage at 34%, while Chicago is fairly good there at 33.5%. That's good for 5th. So they're right behind Phoenix in that category. Rebounds, the teams are pretty much balanced out on the rebounds. Phoenix is 10th in the league at 32, while Chicago is 8th in the league at 33.5. The assists are big here. Phoenix 1st in the league in assists with 20.4 assists per game. Chicago is 17.9. That's good for 7th. Steals, they're pretty much even, 9th and 10th, 6.7 and 6.2. Blocks, Phoenix is tops in the league in blocks with 5.3 blocks per game, while Chicago is 8th at 3.7. Then we get to the nitty gritty. Points per game given up to guards, 32.8 by Phoenix. That's 5th best in the league, and Chicago is 9th at 35.2 points per game. When it comes to the points per game for forwards and centers, Phoenix is 4th in that category, giving up 46.5, while Chicago is 11th, second to last at 51. So again, if you're going to here automatically, the girls you should definitely target in this game is the Phoenix girls, and you're looking at Griner, Taurasi, and or Bonner, or all three. Again, the only problem here is the blowout. It's just that's the only thing. So let's go over here to the guards. We got Diana Taurasi. The other day I told you she was a great play. She's a great play here again today. She's still the same price too. 7,400. You need 37. She's averaging 30. She's averaging 32.3. She's putting up 20.4 points, 2.8 rebounds, 4.6 assists, 1 steal a game, 43% from the floor, and 36% from three. Diana Taurasi, they already have played each other before already. First time around, she put up a 36 spot against this team. I think that she's going to get the same spot again. I think she's definitely good for 30 plus. She needs 37, so she's going to be close to it. The longest Chicago has a couple of players shoot the ball well, maybe a Faulkner, Williams, maybe even a Quigley, and then maybe get Dolson. Now that they got Dolson back, and Cheyenne Parker can shoot a little bit better than she did the other night. They can keep this game fairly close because they're at home. Chicago has those moments, those tendencies of playing people fairly good. So we'll see what happens here. But Phoenix at Chicago, I'm definitely all over Phoenix. Next girl in line here, DeWanna Bonner, 6,600. That's $800 cheaper than Diana Taurasi. Numbers are pretty good for DeWanna. 26 spot in the last game. So between Taurasi and Bonner, they both lit them up pretty bad, including January put up 16 as well. So that's about nearly 65 fantasy points between the teams. More than that, close to 70. But Bonner's at 15.1 points, 6 rebounds a game, 3.2 assists, 1.5 steals, shooting 44% from the floor. So DeWanna Bonner is definitely in play here. If we go to the cruncher, you can see Bonner, they're facing Chicago, the 11th defending team against guards, which is pretty much second to last. That's why they're green. It's telling you that they are a good play. And they are also 11th on my list as far as points given up to, they are 9th in my list as far as giving up points per game to guards at 35.2 points per game. All right, so that, those numbers there add up to, one of these girls having a good game. All right. When I look at Chicago, I'm not looking at Courtney Vandersloot. I just don't know why she's still 6,000 and change. She hasn't, 6,600. You need you need about 36. You need about 34 from her. I don't think she's been getting 34 ever. She got a 30 here, not even 34. She got a 40 spot once. There's never been a time she's been at 34 or better, and she's been at 6,600 or 6,800 for the last 4 or 5 games. So yeah, I'm not in favor of ever paying 6,600 for someone who's not putting up those numbers. So she's definitely not in play for me. We could forget about her. I don't advise anybody to take her. Quigley may be a play, but she too at 5,800, not enough for me. To take her. You need about 28 to cover that. She's averaging 20. And to take a quick look at her, she's not been doing anywhere near 28 since down here. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 games, 6 starts, and she hasn't hit 28. And they want, that's quite a bit. That's a bit of money. Now, someone you may consider in the first game around, Quigley put up 17 spot. Quigley is also putting up 15.4 points per game, 4 rebounds, 2.2 assists, shooting 46% from the floor and 43.8% from three. Those are beautiful numbers. I wish it would translate more into fantasy points. So I don't think it's just enough. It's not enough for me to tell somebody that they should definitely consider in this matchup Allie Quigley. All right, so I'm not on Allie Quigley. Now, Gabby Williams did have a 36 spot against this team the first time around. She played very well. At 4,700, hey, that's a little bit more respectable. 4,700, you need about 23, 24. She's averaging 21, so it's pretty close. She's been putting up 7.8 points, 4.9 rebounds, 1.8 assists, 1.8 steals, shooting 38.7% from the floor, a little low, close to 39, and shooting 33% from three. She did have a 37 spot in the last game, so we know that she's capable of putting 30 plus. She had a 35 here and a 37 in the last game, 32 also, so she's been in the 30s 3 times. I would like to see that a little bit more to be like, hey, you know what? I'm willing to take a dive on her. But she's definitely someone you can consider tomorrow in this matchup here. I'm not on Diamond DeShields. I told you she burned me like 2 times, and I figure I'm going to wait until she bounces back and she's playing the way she was playing at the beginning, and she still hasn't gotten there, so she is definitely a no-no, guys. Brianna January, I mentioned before, 16 spot against this team the first time around. She's at 4,400. You need about 22, and she's averaging 16.9, so 17 pretty much. 7.4 points per game, 2.2 rebounds, 4 assists, shooting 41% from the floor, and a whopping 56.8, pretty much 57% from three. That is definitely an interesting number. All right, definitely an interesting number. She already put up a 16 spot the last time around, so definitely someone you can consider at 4,400. Miss Faulkner is another one here, low value play, definitely someone you consider. First time around, she didn't fare that well. She only put up 9 fantasy points. But at 3,700, she's not a bad fly here. 17 points you need from her. She's averaging 15.8, which is nearly pretty much 16. As you can see here, she did 1.1 fantasy point better per minute here. That's 21 minutes and put up 25.7. So we know she can get to the high 20s. She only did it once, pretty much twice this season. She needs to get the minutes, though, for that to happen. Now, she'll get the minutes if Chicago falls apart here and they don't play well enough. She may get more time on the floor than DeShields and Gabby Williams. All right? So they have, I think, for me personally, I think they have good talent among those 5 girls we just mentioned there. It's not enough, though. They're just not performing at a consistent level for me to buy into it, especially Vandersloot at 6,600. It's just too much money. So definitely not in play there. I'm not on anybody else here lower than Faulkner. I think Faulkner and January are definitely nice value plays in the entire slate. Definitely two you can consider. Let's go to the forwards. Very interesting here. Brittany Griner is definitely, obviously, in play. She's one of the top dogs in the league. You need 8,700. You need 44, and she's averaging pretty much 41. She put up a 45 spot the first time around, so she is good to go. Where is that at? Indiana. Indiana, Chicago. Where are you? Chicago, right here. 32 minutes, 24 points, 8 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 blocks, 1 steal. Just fantastic. 45. We know she has 50 plus upside. Yeah, man. You know, she's in a good spot here. She's in a good spot. As we know, Chicago is second to last in the league defending. Giving up points to forwards and centers. 51 points they give up per game. It's just perfect for just Brittany Griner by herself. But she don't have to do it all by herself. She has Sancho Little. But she is the key person here in this front court for Phoenix. Because their backcourt is very strong with Bonner and Taurasi. And those are the 3 key players, is Griner, Taurasi, and Bonner. So, for me, yeah, I definitely am in favor of Griner. She's putting up 20.2 points per game, 7.7 rebounds, 3 blocks per game, 57% from the floor for the big girl. You know, she's definitely a handful. It's going to be a handful for Cheyenne Parker as well as Stephanie Dawson. It's good to see Dawson back, but I think I'm going to need to see her play more than 25 minutes before I am convinced that she's ready to go. Cheyenne Parker had her in 1 or 2 lineups the other night. She didn't play as well. 17 minutes only, 8 points, 4 rebounds, 1 assist, only put up a 10 spot. First time around against this team, she put up 21. She's averaging 11.3 points, 7.8 rebounds, 1.1 blocks, 54% from the floor shooting, which is excellent, and 40% from 3 when she does take the 3. She's very efficient from there. Very sneaky girl here. But 5,700, you need 27. I don't know. It's going to be tough against her. She's not in the proper matchup with Brittany Griner. All right. Where is she here? And we know what's wrong category. You know, Brittany Griner, yeah, she's in the 11th. But, yeah, she's definitely in a tough spot. Cheyenne Parker is definitely in a tough spot here. This is not, I don't even have her on my list because I had a feeling I wouldn't have her. Cheyenne Parker, tough spot. Even Stephanie Dolson, she came back 5,600. You need about 27. She's averaging 21.6. She had that foot injury. They're going to bring her back slowly, but she had a nice night. Almost 1 point per minute. Not fantasy point, 1 point per minute. She put up 13 points in 14 minutes with 3 rebounds and 1 steal. Put up 18.6 fantasy points. That's not a bad showing, but until I see her at about 25 minutes or better, I will not be willing to pay 5,600 for her. I need to see her get more minutes. So we'll wait and see until that time comes. So I'm not on her. And with her being back, this definitely doesn't help Nador. So definitely not someone to consider anymore. She's going to be minimized in minutes now. And as you can see, she only played 13 minutes in the last game. So definitely with Dolson coming back, it definitely is going to hurt her as far as time. Here at the bottom, not on anybody else other than Sancho Little might be someone to consider. 4,600. You need about 24. She's averaging 20. First time around against this team, she put up a 20 spot. 24 minutes, 12, 5, 1, 1, 20.5 in 24 minutes. That's not too bad. She's averaging 7.7 points, 5 rebounds a game, and shooting 54%. Right now, currently, 54% from the floor. Sancho Little is definitely someone to consider here as a low-value play. That's pretty much it, guys. So, key thing to remember, all right? I gave you who I think are the best possible plays. There are some teams here. If you want to do game stacks, I'm in favor of Seattle-Dallas game stack. I think the game is going to be fairly close, and I think their top players are going to do fairly good as far as putting up fantasy points. So I think that's a game you can target as a game stack. If you wanted to target 2 games, then I would say the 2 games you can target is either Seattle with Dallas and utilizing some players from the Minnesota-Las Vegas game. I think that's going to be pretty competitive too. Or the New York-LA game. If you want to do another game stack, this is not a bad. If you're able to put more than a few lineups, you got enough cash, then you can definitely do. I mean, I can see myself doing easily here 5, 6 players from this game, and you have the numbers that can get to make it work. As you can see with some 4s and 3s here with Kia Vaughn, who gets time, Zooey B, and then you got Charles Agumake. So I mean, you know, I mean, you could draw something up from this. The other game that I would target as a game stack would be Minnesota, Las Vegas. Those are my 3 games that I think are the best ones. These 2 here, chances of blowouts. Connecticut blowing out Indiana is very much possible. Hopefully not, because I would love to play 1 or 2 Connecticut guards. And I like the Phoenix guards here too, and this is probably the one game that could be the biggest blowout. I'm hoping Chicago could stay close because I would love to play Bonner or Taurasi once again. All right, so those are the games. So focus on Seattle, Dallas, New York, LA, or Minnesota, Las Vegas, or combining of the 3 for your 7 players, or stacking 7 players from 2 games. I think that will work. All right, I gave you the statistics. I gave you some of the points per positions given up by each individual teams. And you take it from there. Again, here it's just giving you some insight, giving you some advice, let you guys make that decision on what you think is the best play. And you put the stuff together. I got to do that myself now. I always give you some FPP plays, FPPM plays, fantasy points per minute. You know I love that category, and I utilize that a lot in making some of my decisions, as well as all the other things that I mentioned. So the best ones that I like going into this slate today, FPPM plays, guards, Boyd, Brittany Boyd, New York, 1.13. Okay. Fantasy points per minute. Diggin Smith at 1 fantasy point per minute. Ms. Bonner at 0.96. Taurasi at 0.95. Jewel Lloyd at 0.94. Jasmine Thomas at 0.92. Courtney Williams at 0.86. And Erica Wheeler at 0.83 are my favorite fantasy points per minute plays as guards. For the forwards, I'm not in favor of it, but Liz Campage at 1.34 is the top of the list of girls that I would be considering. Asia Wilson is second at 1.27. Sylvia Fowles at 1.23. Candace Parker at 1.23. Miss Stewart at 1.19. Miss Griner at 1.19 fantasy points per minute. Miss Agumake, NECA, Shanae, 1.112. Tina Charles at 1.10. Now Shanae Agumake at 1.05 fantasy points per minute. Maya Moore at 1.01. And my last one, which is a lot more forwards that have the potential to put up 1 fantasy point per minute. My last play is Miss Howard. Okay. At this is Natasha Howard at 1 point fantasy point per minute at 1 on the nose. So definitely those are the fine plays. So you got quite a bit of girls there to look over, as well as statistical matters, as well as the team stats, and as well as some of the games that I think you could target, that I think are the best games to target. And you crunch that all up together, and you could use an optimizer as well, like I do with Fantasy Cruncher here, or if you're using RxQL, and there's so many out there. Fantasy Labs I've used before. There's also Swish Analytics, and it goes on and on. There's a number of them, Roto Grinders, you name it. So I mean, whatever one you use, or if you're just crunching up the numbers yourself, I crunch numbers, and I use right now basically my main one is Fantasy Cruncher. All right, guys. That's pretty much it, man. It's a long video. I apologize, man. It's tough for me. I am more of an analytical guy. I'm into stats, and then of course I yap away maybe a little too long on some of the stats. But I mean, that's just me. Hopefully this information does help you guys. That's the most important thing. I know it does make me feel better to know that that's kind of the way I go about doing things for myself. So and I am pretty consistent with winning on a consistent basis. I don't win large GPPs all the time. Obviously nobody's going to do that consistently, once or twice a week. It would be great. I definitely shoot to try to do that every single day. That's for certain. But it doesn't happen all the time. 6 weeks, maybe sometimes 7 weeks it takes. Maybe even more for some people, whatever the case may be. But the key is to be a little consistent, and that's what I do. Those are the necessary steps I take. So I'm just trying to build little formulas and try to find ways to be able to give myself a little bit of an edge. And that's basically it, man. So good luck in doing up your lineups, man. I hope you guys make a lot of money. Enjoy your Sunday with your families. Enjoy the games. I will as well. And I'll be back with the next video for the next scheduled games, man. All right. Good luck tonight. God bless. Your boy Manny is out.